I was 22. At that age, I thought I understood life, work, love, plans for the future. Nothing complicated. I had her, and that felt like enough. We'd been together for almost 2 years. She was part of my routine. I'd wake up, go to the warehouse, work long shifts lifting boxes until my back burned, and she'd be the reward waiting at the end of the day. We'd eat cheap takeout on her couch, talk about nothing, laugh until we passed out. But one evening, something shifted. I got to her place later than usual. The lights were off. Strange, she hated the dark. I knocked, no answer. 5, maybe 10 minutes later, she walked in. Her hair messy, shirt untucked. She froze for a second when she saw me sitting there. Then she smiled too quickly, said she was out with a friend. I wanted to believe it, but her tone was wrong. Her eyes were somewhere else. That night, I couldn't sleep. I replayed it over and over. The pause before she spoke, the way she avoided looking directly at me. The next few days were the same. She came home later, sometimes not answering her phone. I asked once where she'd been. She laughed it off, said, "Why are you acting like a jealous old man?" She had never spoken to me like that before. I noticed other things. She used to leave her phone on the table. Now she kept it in her pocket. She started putting it face down. One evening, it buzzed 3 times in a row. She grabbed it so fast you'd think it was on fire. I asked who it was. She snapped, "It's none of your business." I didn't push. I didn't want to fight. But the doubt was there, spreading. One night, we were walking back from the bus stop. She said she had to stay late at work. But when we passed by her shop, the lights were off. The place had closed hours earlier. She noticed me looking. She squeezed my hand, smiled, and said, "I'll explain later." But she never did. That weekend, I smelled perfume on her, not hers, stronger, sweeter, different. She hated that kind of scent. I knew it wasn't an accident. I tried to convince myself it was all in my head. Work stress, misunderstandings, anything but the truth. But late at night, when she thought I was asleep, I'd hear the faint sound of her phone, the soft laugh under her breath. Once, I turned and caught the glow of the screen lighting up her face. She jumped like she'd been burned, said she was just scrolling. But nobody smiles like that at nothing. That was the beginning. The moment when the world I thought I had built with her started to crack. Small pieces breaking off, one by one. I told myself not to look too closely, because I already knew. Once I did, nothing would look the same again. The weeks that followed felt different. I tried to keep things normal, but nothing was normal anymore. Every detail seemed louder, sharper, impossible to ignore. She started changing her routine. Before, she always told me where she was going. Now she was vague. Just out with a friend. Running errands. No names, no details. If I asked too many questions, she'd get defensive. "Why are you interrogating me?" she said once, slamming the bathroom door. She had never spoken like that before. Her phone became a wall between us. She never left it lying around anymore. If it buzzed, she'd grab it instantly. If I walked into the room while she was on it, she'd end the call without a word. Once, I heard her laugh, a soft, low laugh I hadn't heard in months. And when I asked what was funny, she froze, said it was nothing, but her eyes betrayed her. There were evenings when she said she was working late. I tested it. I walked past her shop twice. Both times it was locked, lights off. She didn't know I had checked. That knowledge ate at me. Then came the excuses. She started canceling our plans last minute. said she felt sick, said she was too tired, said she needed space. But the very next day, she'd show up glowing, her hair done, wearing new perfume. She never dressed like that for me anymore. One night, I decided not to say a word. I just watched. We were on her couch, the TV playing, but she wasn't watching. Her phone lit up, and I caught a glimpse of a man's name I didn't recognize. She smiled before she opened the message. I saw it. A genuine smile, wider and warmer than anything she had given me in weeks. I asked casually, "Who's that?" She locked her phone instantly. "Nobody," I pressed. "Nobody makes you smile like that." Her face hardened. "Why don't you trust me?" That line hit me harder than anything, because I did trust her. I trusted her with everything. But trust doesn't erase evidence. And the evidence was piling up. 2 days later, I followed her. I didn't plan it. I just did it. She left early, said she had to help a co-worker. I waited 5 minutes, then walked the same way. She didn't go toward the shop. She turned left instead, toward the old part of town. I kept my distance. She stopped at a small cafe, sat at a corner table. 10 minutes passed. Then a man walked in, tall, dark jacket, confident stride. He didn't even look around. He went straight to her. She stood up and hugged him. Not a casual hug, not a friend's hug, something more. I froze outside, staring through the window like a fool. My heart raced. My throat was dry. I wanted to storm in, but my legs wouldn't move. I watched them laugh together, leaning close, hands brushing. She touched his arm the way she used to touch mine. I walked away before they could see me. My mind was spinning. Maybe it wasn't what it looked like. Maybe I was overreacting. But deep down, I knew. That night, when she came back, she didn't notice anything different in me. She smiled faintly, said she was tired, and went straight to bed. I stood in the kitchen staring at her phone on the counter. For the first time, she hadn't taken it with her. My hand hovered over it. I could unlock it. I could end the guessing, but I didn't, because the truth was already clear. I didn't need her phone to tell me what I had seen with my own eyes. I couldn't shake the image of her in that cafe. For days, it played in my head like a broken film reel. Her smile, the way she leaned in toward him, his hand resting on the table inches from hers. I knew what I had seen, but I still needed more. I needed the truth to hit me so hard I couldn't deny it anymore. The chance came sooner than I expected. Tuesday night, she told me she was staying late at work again. Same excuse, same tone. I nodded, pretended to believe her. But inside, I was already moving. After my shift, I walked straight to her building. The front door was unlocked. I stepped inside, careful, quiet. The hallway was dim, but a sliver of light leaked from under her apartment door. Voices, muffled, but clear enough. One of them was hers. The other was male. I froze in the hall. My chest tightened. My palms were wet. For a moment, I thought about turning around, leaving, pretending I had never come. But my legs carried me forward. I pushed the door open. She was there, not alone. She jumped, eyes wide, as if I had caught her stealing. The man beside her froze. They weren't holding hands, not yet. But the way they were sitting, close, leaning in, her smile too bright, it was obvious. The silence was crushing. None of us spoke. Finally, I forced the words out. "How long?" Her mouth opened, then closed. She looked at him, then back at me. No answer. That was enough. I felt something inside me crack. Not anger, not yet. Just emptiness. I looked at the man. He stood up, muttered something I couldn't hear, and brushed past me. The door slammed behind him. Now it was just us. She wrapped her arms around herself like she could hide. "It's not what you think," she whispered. I laughed, a cold, short laugh. "Then tell me what it is." She didn't. Her silence was louder than any confession. I didn't shout. I didn't throw anything. I just stood there, staring at the woman I thought I knew, realizing she was a stranger. My world was gone, and all that was left was the sound of her breathing in that too bright room. I turned and walked out. She called my name once, maybe twice, but I didn't look back. The hallway felt longer than ever. Every step echoed like a final nail in the coffin of everything we had. Outside, the night air hit me hard. I stood there, not moving, not knowing where to go. My hands were shaking. My chest felt hollow. One thought circled in my head: it's over. And it was. I didn't sleep that night. I walked the streets for hours. No destination, just moving. Streetlights buzzed overhead. Cars passed, but I barely noticed. My mind was stuck in that room. Her face, his presence, the silence after my question. At some point, I found myself at a diner. Cheap neon sign, open all night. I sat at the counter, ordered coffee I didn't drink. The waitress asked if I was okay. I shook my head. She didn't press. That silence was the first mercy I'd felt all evening. By dawn, I was back in my apartment. The walls felt too close, the bed too empty. I sat on the edge, staring at the floor. My phone buzzed. Her name lit up the screen. I didn't answer. 10 minutes later, a text. "Please, can we talk?" Another. "It's not what you think." I threw the phone on the table. I already knew enough. The next day at work, I was useless. I dropped tools, forgot instructions. My foreman pulled me aside. "You drunk?" he asked. I shook my head. I couldn't explain. What was I supposed to say? That the girl I trusted had someone else? That I wasn't the man I thought I was? That evening, she came to my place, knocked on the door, called my name. I didn't open. She stayed 15 minutes, maybe more, then left. I watched from the window as she walked away, her head down. A part of me wanted to run after her. Another part kept me still. The following days blurred. I stopped eating regular meals, just cigarettes and cold coffee. Friends called, but I ignored them. I didn't want pity. I didn't want advice. I wanted answers that never came. On the third night, I finally answered her call. My voice sounded strange, rough. She cried, said she was sorry, said it was a mistake. I asked again, "How long?" She was quiet. That silence told me everything. I hung up. My hand shook so hard I dropped the phone. I sat there, breathing fast, staring at the screen until it went dark. I started avoiding places we used to go, the park, the bus stop, even the corner store. Every spot was a reminder. Every street felt poisoned. I took longer routes just to dodge memories. One evening, I ran into a mutual friend. He looked uncomfortable. He knew. The way he avoided my eyes, the way he changed the subject, it was obvious. Everyone knew but me. That humiliation cut deeper than her betrayal. The worst part was the nights, alone in bed, silence pressing in. I replayed every moment of our relationship, every laugh, every promise, every word, trying to figure out when it started, what I missed, where I failed, but no answers came, only the same image, her smile, but not from me. That was when I understood. This wasn't just the end of us. This was the start of something else, a different life, whether I wanted it or not. The days turned into weeks. I cut her out, but the damage stayed. Every corner of my life felt different. Work, friends, Even family dinners, I wasn't the same. I started drinking more, cheap whiskey mostly. At first, just one glass at night to calm my head. Then more, anything to blur the pictures in my mind. But the mornings always came, and with them, the memory. One Friday night, I ran into her again. I didn't plan it. She was with friends, laughing, acting like nothing had happened. When she saw me, her face went pale. I stared at her for a second, waiting to see if she'd come over, if she'd try to talk. She didn't. She turned away. That silence hurt more than words. After that, I decided to leave town for a while. Took extra shifts, saved money, bought a bus ticket. No plan, just distance. I thought if I put miles between us, maybe the pain would shrink. The trip didn't fix me, but it gave me perspective. Alone in a new city, I realized how much of myself I had tied to her. Too much. I had built my identity around someone who could walk away in an instant. That realization hit harder than the betrayal itself. I started writing things down, not poetry, not reflections, just facts, dates, times, lies I had ignored. It was ugly on paper, but clear. And for the first time, I didn't feel like a fool. I felt like someone who had survived. Months later, she called again. Different number. I almost didn't pick up. Against my better judgment, I did. Her voice was calm, not crying this time. She said she was sorry, that she wanted to explain. I didn't let her. I said one thing. You ended it the moment you chose him. Then I hung up. That was the last time I ever heard her voice. The years after weren't easy. Trust came slow. Relationships felt fragile. But eventually, I understood something. Betrayal doesn't just take away love. It takes away the boy you were before it happened. I never got him back. He died the night I opened that door. And maybe that was the lesson. Love isn't always safe. Trust isn't guaranteed. Sometimes, the people you'd bet your life on will burn it all down in a single night. I was 22 when I learned that. Too young. But that's how my story began. And everything after, every scar, every choice, every wall I built, started with that betrayal.